Precision English, communication in English.
Good afternoon, I'm Chloe. There are some breaking news over Asia, Europe, and Africa. At first, let's talk about China and Taiwan. Taipei, May 29, China is preparing an armada of ferries and civilian vessels to invade Taiwan. Foreign experts have warned, but Taiwan defense experts say the country has contingencies ready to handle the threat. In a May 26 report in the Daily Telegraph, experts said the People's Liberation Army lacks the numbers of amphibious landing craft needed to launch a full-scale invasion of Taiwan, but it could bridge the gap with civilian vessels, including gigantic row-on-row of ferries that can each carry hundreds of armored vehicles. China's civilian vessels could dramatically increase the tonnage of military material that can be moved by its existing military amphibious assault craft. Tom Shugart, an analyst at the Center of New American Security, told the newspaper, they could give it capacity to transport about 300,000 troops and their vehicles across the Taiwan Straits in about 10 days. Shugart was quoted as saying, Jie Zhong, a researcher at the Taipei-based Association of Strategic Foresight, agreed that the PLA lacks military vessels to transport military assets and has regularly included large-sized row-on-row of ferries in military exercise over the past 4 years. He said each 36,000-ton row vessel can transport the troops of an estimated 4 PLA combined arms battalions at a time, meaning 2 ro-ro ships could transport the troops of a whole PLA combined arms brigade, which generally involves thousands of soldiers. Despite their large transport capacity, however, these civilian vessels are not designed to transport military assets such as military landing vessels because they need docking facilities when uploading and unloading, Jie said. In the event of an armed invasion of Taiwan, therefore, the first wave of PLA troops could only use military landing ships, military helicopters, and military transport aircraft to land in Taiwan, according to Jie. Only after the first wave of PLA troops has successfully landed in Taiwan and constructed unloading facilities could these civilian vessels start transporting some troops to Taiwan, Jie said. Even when that happens, Taiwan's existing long-range anti-ship missile systems and naval mines, as well as suicide speedboats, should be sufficient to destroy these relatively slow-moving civilian transport ships, he said. CNA also asked the Ministry of National Defense about the potential threat. It said it closely monitors Chinese activities around Taiwan's airspace and the sea, including military civilian coordinated landing operations during PLA exercises and the PLA requisition of civilian row-on-row of vessels. The MND continues to gather related information and intelligence of the PLA's informal landing and transportation capabilities, and that such tactics are carefully evaluated and prepared, it said, without elaborating. The second news ring is about a gunshot happened in London. A child is in a serious condition after 4 people were shot in an apparent drive-by shooting on a busy East London High Street. It happened on Kingsland High Street in Hackney at about 9:20 p.m. on Wednesday. A child is in a serious condition after 4 people were shot in an apparent drive-by shooting on a business East London High Street. It happened on Kingsland High Street in Hackney. About families were sat outside eating dinner when the shooting happened, with witnesses telling Sky News they initially thought it was fireworks before hearing a motorbike street off. All 4 victims were taken to hospital with gunshot injuries. Specialist firearms officers were called, but police said no arrests have been made so far, as Avin, a Turkish restaurant place of food and half-drunk beers were still laid out on tables on Thursday morning. Chairs appeared to have been shoved aside in a panic, and paramedics' plastic gloves laid on the floor behind the police cordon. A woman staying in the hotel opposite told Sky News people were received text messages telling them to stay inside. The Metropolitan Police said the child is in a serious condition and the force is waiting for updates on the 3 adults. A London ambulance service spokesperson said a trauma team from the air ambulance was among multiple resources dispatched. Retrieved 3 adults and the 1 at the scene before taking them all to a major trauma center, a statement said. The third news, let's take a look at South Africa's 2024 election. The votes are being counted in South Africa after Wednesday's general election. Ahead of the ballot, opinion polls had been suggesting that the governing African National Congress could less than 15% of the vote of the first time in 30 years. Mounting criticism of the party led the fight against apartheid under the late Nelson Mandela has stripped away at its support, raising the possibility of a coalition government. The Electoral Commission said the final results should be known by Sunday 2 June at the latest, but legally it has 7 days to make the announcement. The count started as soon as polls closed on Wednesday, and figures are being released as the tallying and verification in various areas is completed. Most of the votes should be counted by the end of Thursday, but more time might be needed to verify the tallies and deal with any objections. South Africans have been used to knowing the results by the Saturday after polling day, but this time things are expected to take longer as there are more ballot papers to count because of the introduction of an extra vote of the National Parliament. Wednesday's election saw long lines of voters outside polling stations late into the night across the country, with one electoral official in Johannesburg saying the quotes were reminiscent of the historic 1994 election. That was when white minority ruled land and the ANC came to power. This was the country's 7th Democratic general election. Nearly 28 million Southern Africans had registered to vote, and they were electing representatives to the national and provincial parliaments.
And that was our international news highlights brought to you by Chloe from the journalism department. Chloe, thank you, and Chloe, say bye.
Bye.
Language is power when you use it. English and Applied Communication,世新University.